They say some cities are cursed.
This is Elias Vance. He mapped the world. But the map he found showed him a place no human should ever see.
Disgraced and desperate, Vance sought refuge in the city's forgotten archives, believing answers were always physical, always empirical.
But the answers were buried, not in history, but in a secret the city had kept since before time began.
It wasn't a map of space. It was a blueprint of when.
But the map had a guardian, and she knew exactly what its discovery meant. Catastrophe.
Elias recognized the danger instantly. She wasn't just observing him, she was waiting for him.
You cannot use that thing, Mr. Vance. It shows only one path, the end of everything you hold dear.
The map wasn't passive. It was a shifting, living entity, a constantly updating forecast of doom.
This city, known only as Porthaven, was built on secrets.
Elias, the scientist, refused to believe in fate. He saw the map not as a destiny, but as a problem to be solved.
The map's secret wasn't on the face, but in the key, the one ancient marker that defied his compass.
The marker led him here, to the entrance of the Kronos Society, an organization that actively controlled the timeline.
For a cartographer, stepping into the unknown is a thrill. Below the surface of Porthaven lay the Kronos Chamber, a place where the architecture itself... The map showed him the when, the chamber showed him the why. A terrible price was paid for this knowledge.
Impossible. Non-Euclidean.
Madame Zilpha was not just a guardian.
The map was merely a forecast. This obsidian sphere was the catalyst, the device that allowed them to briefly see and manipulate time.
Vance finally understood the true alternate history. They weren't stopping a disaster, they were choosing it. The map showed an inevitable flood, but Zilpha knew the city must fall to save the world's timeline from chaos.
Destiny is cruel, Mr. Vance. You can save your small city, or you can allow the timeline to stabilize. Choose.
The cartographer, whose life was dedicated to charting the known, was now forced to gamble with the unknown, the fate of thousands.
Zilpha knew the Society's work wasn't evil. It was simply the heaviest burden, trading one small tragedy for global survival.
Every line, every pattern, or 3-second window. The only time...
Forget the rules. Forget the cost. For Elias, a 3-second window was all the time a desperate man needed to change history.
The Society cannot permit a temporal collapse. Step away, Mr. Vance. You cannot fight history.
It was a clash between inevitability and hope. Fate versus the impossible power of a single moment.
Every line, every pattern, or 3-second window. The only time...
Forget the rules. Forget the cost. For Elias, a 3-second window was all the time a desperate man needed to change history.
The Society cannot permit a temporal collapse. Step away, Mr. Vance. You cannot fight history.
It was a clash between inevitability and hope. Fate versus the impossible power of a single moment.
Elias knew he couldn't fight her. He had to distract her. Sacrifice the known, precise world for one perfect second of chaos. The Kronos Society's only rule: protect the timeline. And Zilpha was prepared to enforce it.
3 seconds. That was the window. And in a blinding flash, Elias smashed the map, the forecast, against the tool of destiny.
This was not a physical explosion. This was the sound of a timeline.
When the shockwave passed, the temporal window had closed. The disaster was averted. Zilpha had lost her purpose, but she would not lose the evidence. She had to ensure the fractured map was never found again.
The cartographer woke, unsure if he had saved the city or simply imagined a disaster that never existed.
You changed one moment, Mr. Vance. That single deviation is the greatest victory. But the cost will still be paid.
The Kronos Society was fractured, but not gone. Elias knew his one act of defiance had made him their perpetual target.
He surfaced to a city untouched. The flood never came. The 3-second window had averted a catastrophic tragedy.
He had saved the city, but the timeline was still scarred. Elias had traded his compass, his guide to reality, for a chaotic truth.
The Society simply started over. The threat of a broken timeline was constant, and now...
This remained, a broken artifact serving as a warning. The timeline could be fought, but the scars would never truly...
The ultimate irony of time travel is that the people you save will never know you saved them. They simply exist in the new normal.
The 3-second difference caused 1,000 tiny waves. The flood was replaced by a more palatable, smaller tragedy.
Elias lives with the knowledge of two histories, the one that died and the one he created.
Zilpha's mission became focused. Track down the deviation. The 3-second shift was an anomaly.
The Kronos Society retreated into the shadow. The gate was sealed, locking the impossible truth away from the ordered world.
But the evidence survived. Elias would always carry the proof. The knowledge that time...
The city was safe. The Society was watching. But the question remains.
Elias couldn't go back to charting the Earth. Now, his obsession was charting the flaw in time, the 3-second tremor he created.
The Society's greatest fear was realized. The chaos of the timeline was now greater than their ability to contain it.
The proof was on the street. People were losing moments. The world was spontaneously skipping 3 seconds at a time.
The map fragment held one final truth. The timeline could only be fixed by gathering what was...
His purpose was clear. Elias Vance had to become a weird scavenger of history, piecing together the timeline he had shattered.
The Society had failed, and the Keeper of the Timeline knew she had only one choice: find the only man reckless enough to break it. The truth is, we are all living in Elias Vance's repaired reality.
What part of the timeline would you fix if you had only 3 seconds? Watch till the end for the secret, and let us know in the comments.